Hello, everyone. Welcome to LB24 and your most popular show, Legal Rights. We'll talk about immigration, we'll talk about asylum. Most importantly, we'll talk about immigration and immigrants in the UK. We have our guest from the beginning, Sister Belma. She's a immigration advisor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you know your most popular immigration advisor, Barrister Saif Khaled. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kabir. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Dear viewers, we'll take some calls. Your opinion, very important to us. And your concern about immigration, your thoughts about immigration. You can take some legal advice. We got very popular two advisors today. Let's talk to them, how they're feeling. Belma, so you can start from you. You can talk about yourself and how you're feeling today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, I'm a mathematician, but I have a lot of years experience about education and human resources. I'm recruiter, and my PhD thesis about competency analysis. Because in experts have a lot of experience, but sometimes some jobs does not fit some person. This reason I want to explore competencies, and it's very good for me. Why? Because I learned a lot of things about my PhD thesis. Then I started for working on immigration.
That's good to know. Good to know. Mr. Saifuddin Khaled, I don't need to introduce you again. You know, just we are talking about the immigration.
Thank you, Kabir. Thank you, Sister Belma, for being here with us today. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Of course, you yourself, your background is a mathematician, and then you became a human resource expert, and you got a PhD on that, and then you became an immigration lawyer. Quite a phenomenal journey, and it's quite inspirational. Of course, immigration is a everyday thing in the UK, particularly because it's an immigrant country. People are coming to this country for better life, to continue their family life, and some people just simply visit because of this historical background. So I don't need to, go on and on about the problems of immigrations and how the government is thinking, but I want to be optimistic. I believe immigration is good for this economy of this country. The modern civilization and the modern Britain has been built by the immigrants. The contributions are huge, phenomenal. The Prime Minister is from an immigrant family. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is from an immigrant family as well. And of course, big stars like Mo Farah, he himself is an immigrant. So the contribution of immigrants in this country cannot be forgotten or cannot be just throw away. Simply cannot be ignored. However, of course, effective immigration control is extremely important for a betterment of a country, and we appreciate that. But the draconian laws, for example, is kind of like an hypocritical policy. So you open floodgates by introducing new immigration rules for a particular route, and then you tighten them so that people, say for example, students come here with in big numbers, spend big amount of money in the universities, and for one small mistakes or probably because of a real reason. So for example, I had a client who was pregnant. She couldn't attend school for obvious reasons because she's pregnant, and they did not continue her study. They withdrawn her sponsorship. How draconian is that? Because she had the intention to study, she had the intention to continue with her education, but because of obvious reasons she couldn't. But the university managed to take the money, but they did not let her continue her study. They withdrawn the sponsorship. The student is in a difficult situation. Thousands and thousands examples like this. Yeah, big number of fees are being charged, but the services provided by the universities and the policies of the immigrations are not very supportive at the moment towards the immigrants, particularly for the students and so forth.
So you are talking about the standard of the education level is quite low, and
I'm not saying the standard has gone low. Well, I'm saying the treatment of international students, the treatment of migrants, although they are paying much 3, 4, 5 times higher than the UK students, but the treatment of them in terms of an internationally recognized university standard are not being maintained, because there is no, it's kind of like a machines are running the university, running the show, not humans. There's no sympathy, there is no compassion, there is no kindness, there is no eagerness to encourage students to build their career, to get world-class universities or world-class education. There is no, you cannot see anything of that nature. All you can see that you come with a visa, pay our fees. If you don't attend the college, we're going to get someone else, you are out of the line. So this kind of policy is irrational, unreasonable, unfair, and I believe it's not. It doesn't go with the spirit of the immigration law. It doesn't go with the spirit of the immigration policy.
Okay. So you're saying the duty of care has to be implemented far more better than now from the awarding bodies
Yeah, of
and
course, yes.
institutions.
Particularly because the students, they pay a huge amount of money. They spend money, they spend their time and resources, and they uproot their status from their country of origin to come here for better education. If you cannot offer them, if you cannot deal with them humanly, I mean, you do not actually portray a positive case for the UK's education.
Yeah, not only that, in terms of other side, the working pattern, if you see loss of health workers, the nurses, doctors, they're coming to the UK for the betterment of their lives and also the economy of the UK. So what about your views on that?
Yes, Sister Belma can probably, yeah.
Please.
Of course, migrants are coming to the UK also to work with appropriate visas in terms of getting skilled worker visa. They bring their families here, and they have aspiration to settle in this country. So in terms of skilled worker, they can settle in 5 years' time as long as they continue to work with the companies they are being sponsored by. But the problem we can see that, of course, sometimes those migrants are being exploited by their employers. Their rights are being denied. They are not being paid regularly. They're not being paid, or they're not being given works as promised. And of course, the immigration rules or immigration policies towards the sponsor is quite comprehensive. Some sponsors probably cannot get into the macro level information of the sponsorship policy. But again, in terms of protecting the rights of those migrants who come from abroad to settle here, to work for some UK companies, UK employers, for the betterment of that company, for the betterment of the economy of this of the country, it's a huge contribution.
Yeah.
But drastic measures are being actually implemented by the Home Office and by the policymakers sometimes, yeah, to prevent those immigrants, those skilled workers, to continue with their work. sometimes doesn't make sense, sometimes is out of touch, out of common sense. Common sense does not apply in this kind of decisions. Yeah, so I believe that that once a person comes here and then he wishes to continue his work, continue his employment, they should be given a flexibility. They should be given flexibility in terms of choosing their work, in terms of choosing their employer, and in terms of interchanging or changing their employer. So I think the Home Office or the Secretary of State should look into, explore into policies, implementing policies where the employees or the migrants who come here with skilled worker get enough flexibility so that they can contribute towards the economy and for their own life as well.
Thank you, Mr. Saif and Khaled. Sister Belma, so what is your view on that?
Actually, I want to say about for TR4 dependence visa change.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to say to him, what about think? Because, Home Office changed rules about TR4
from
visas.
January.
Yeah,
from
dependent.
January, you cannot bring your dependent unless you are into
A master
research-based masters or in the PhD. This is a completely. I would think that this is a completely. This policy goes against the human rights. I mean, how out of touch this policy is. Australia, Canada, America, United States, other European countries, they never do that.
Yeah.
If they allow a student to come here, if they allow a migrant to come here, they should be allowed to bring their spouses. What is the benefit of preventing them not to bring their spouses, not to bring their families? I do not know. They are paying NHS fees for each individual applicant. Either they are dependent or the main applicant, they pay their NHS fees. Yeah, if they work here, they don't claim benefits. If they work here, they pay taxes.
Yeah.
So I do not see any justification. So from January, this is going to be a new regime, but this is quite unfortunate. And I would simply say that this is quite draconian, actually, preventing somebody to bring their family while legitimately they are here. So what's the point? Somebody, you see, a wife will be deprived of her husband, or husband will be deprived of a wife's company. Children will be deprived of their parents' company for a substantial amount of time. This is unacceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen lots of families. They came here for the betterment of their future, their enthusiasm, their intention to stay and settle in the UK, because UK, the only country to look after the immigrants, and we are a son of the immigrants. And just you mentioned the Prime Minister is immigrant, the Mayor of London, even the Mayor of Tahanders, he is an immigrant. So we are contributing so much to the country, and yes, we must contribute as a
no, I appreciate that there are rules in place, of course, still in place for people to bring their family members in different categories. But what Sister Belma was highlighting, that these students are going to be denied to bring their spouses. So what will happen is that if this kind of policies are being put forward or continued, the brilliant students will actually, UK is not going to be their first choice. Yeah. They will go to USA or go to Australia or go to Canada. And this is not good for the economy. And particularly, I mean, and people want to come to the UK because they have the family members, the education system, the education quality is quite unparalleled, international standard. So this would be a loss for those students as well, isn't it? So it's a loss for...
We have a caller, so let me take the call. Yeah. Hello, caller.
Hello, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম সালাম।
জি ভাই, আমার হচ্ছে খালেদ ভাইয়ের কাছে একটা প্রশ্ন ছিল, আমি কি করব?
জি বলেন। হ্যাঁ।
জি, অ্যাসাইলাম যারা করে যখন হোম অফিসে ওরা ফ্রি অ্যাকোমোডেশনের জন্য যখন অ্যাপ্লাই করে তখন ওদেরকে অফার করা হয় হাউস, নো বেসিস চয়েস থাকে এটা। কিন্তু যদি ওরা অফার করার পরে রিফিউজ করে অ্যাকোমোডেশন, তখন সেকেন্ড স্টেপটা কি হতে পারে? তাদেরকে কি আবার একটা অফার করবে অন্য জায়গায়, নাকি মানে পরবর্তীতে কি ধরনের পদক্ষেপ নেয় হোম অফিস?
অলরাইট, থ্যাংক ইউ। এটা আসলে অ্যাসাইলাম ক্লেম করার পরে তারা অবশ্যই জিজ্ঞেস করে যে আপনার কি অ্যাকোমোডেশন দরকার, অথবা আপনি নিজেই বলতে পারেন যে আপনার অ্যাকোমোডেশন দরকার। এখানে কিন্তু অ্যাপ্লিক্যান্টের কোনো চয়েস নাই। আপনি যদি রিফিউজ করেন তাহলে তারা আপনাকে অফার করবে না, এর মানে এইটা না, অথবা আপনাকে ফ্যাসিলিটেট করবে না, এর মানে এইটা না যে আপনি আবার তাদের কাছে যেতে পারবেন না। আপনি ইউ ক্যান গো ব্যাক টু দেম, বাট হোম অফিস কোনো সময় হিস্টোরিক্যালি বলেন, আগে যখন অ্যাকোমোডেশন অ্যাভেলেবল ছিল তখনই বলেন, আর এখন তো অ্যাভেলেবিলিটির একটু প্রবলেম আছে, জায়গার প্রবলেম আছে, কোনো সময়ে কিন্তু অ্যাপ্লিক্যান্টকে কোনো চয়েস দেবে না। আপনি যদি এখন না করেন তাহলে আপনাকে বলবে ঠিক আছে, তুমি তোমার অ্যাকোমোডেশন তুমি অ্যারেঞ্জ করো। তারপরে 10 দিন পরে, 1 মাস পরে আপনি যদি আবার যান, গিয়ে বলেন যে না আমার অ্যাকোমোডেশন লাগবে, তখন আপনি কিন্তু এই অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করে তারপরে আপনি যেতে হবে। ওটা যেতে যেতে আপনার ধরেন অনেক দিন চলে যাবে, কারণ আপনি একটা অ্যাপ্লিকেশন ফর্ম ফিল আপ করে আপনি প্রথমেই যদি হোম অফিসকে জানাই দেন যে আমার অ্যাকোমোডেশন, তারা সাথে সাথে দিয়ে দেবে। কিন্তু পরবর্তীতে যখন আপনি যাবেন তখন তারা বলবে যে ঠিক আছে, তুমি অ্যাপ্লিকেশন ফর্ম ফিল আপ করে তুমি এই জাস্টিফিকেশন দাও, কেন যে জায়গায় আছো এখানে থাকতে পারবে না, কেন যেতে পারবে না। তখন লোকাল অথরিটিরও একটা অ্যাসাইলামের সাপোর্টারদের জন্য বিভিন্ন জায়গা আছে, তারা ওইখানে আপনাকে রিকমেন্ড করতে পারে। ডাইরেক্টলি হোম অফিস আপনার কেসটা আবার নিতে, বিশেষ করে অ্যাকোমোডেশন ব্যাপারে আপনার আবার নিতে অনেক লেন্দি হয়ে যাবে। তো আপনার প্রশ্নটা ছিল যে যদি আমরা রিফিউজ করি তাহলে কি হবে। রিফিউজ করলে তখন আপনি পেপার অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করে আপনি আবার হোম অফিসকে জানাইতে হবে। তারপরে তারা দীর্ঘদিন পরে অথবা কিছু সময় নিয়ে তারা ওইটা কনসিডার করে তারপরে নিতে পারে। তো এইটা একটা ডিফিকাল্টিস। অথবা তারা থার্ড পার্টি কারো কাছে রেফার করে দিতে পারে, যে বলতে পারে যে ওইখানে যাও, হয়তো কোনো কাউন্সিলের তাদের নিজস্ব অ্যাসাইলামের ফ্যাসিলিটিস, অ্যাকোমোডেশনের ফ্যাসিলিটিস যাদেরকে দেয় ওইখানে পাঠাইতে পারে। সো আসলে চয়েস যদি না থাকে তাহলে পার্সোনালি অ্যারেঞ্জ করেই থাকা উচিত। আর যদি একেবারে দেখা যায় যে কোনো উপায় নাই, তাহলে তো হোম অফিসের এটাকে অ্যাকসেপ্ট করতেই হবে। না করলে কিন্তু দেখা যাবে আপনি লেন্দির মধ্যে পড়ে যাবেন। আপনি অথবা যারা আসলে অ্যাসাইলামের যারা করেছেন তাদের অ্যাকোমোডেশন দরকার, তাদের ব্যাপারে বলতেছি আর কি। থ্যাংক ইউ।
থ্যাংক ইউ। আশা করি কলার আপনার আনসারটা পাইছেন।
She's gone.
Okay.
Gone. So you carry
So
on.
thank you. We were talking about the dependent, the spouse.
Yeah, the students. Isn't it?
Students, yeah. Students.
So what do you think?
Actually, when I read these newspapers news, really I was shocked, because I know that UK wants to be first degree for international students, not USA, not Canada, or not Australia, but this is a really bit for about international students, and because of this, international students number will reduce, because they can't bring their dependents, their spouses here.
Yeah, I believe so. So on the other hand, we can see some other opportunities. If anybody finish their degrees and they can go to the master degree, they can bring their spouse, and also same time, once they finish the degree, they can go for the PSW work another 2 years. So that
is a graduate route.
Yes, another opportunity. So it's a vice versa, but it's quite sad. No one can, within the graduate scheme, no one can bring their spouse. Quite unethical, and it's quite shame. We are living in a civilized country where we cannot demoralize, or we cannot justify ourselves not to bring our spouse or the children. It's quite distancing quite, with the children, family, they're supposed to live together. And it's quite encouraging for the people who can live together. They can get some motivation, they can support each other as a combined family, but it's not going to happen. But it's quite sad.
Yes. So I understand, but again, as I said before, the immigration, the Secretary of State, the Home Secretary, of course, is political. Stop actually doing political point scoring. I think the reality on the ground is different. What they talk on the TV or on the press is I would say that the policies, knee-jerk reaction policies. Knee-jerk reaction means when you see a situation, you don't think, you just make a decision. Do you understand? So sometimes Home Secretary or the Home Office's policies are knee-jerk reactions to certain incidents or certain instances. Because of that, I would say that the Home Secretary should not be acting on knee-jerk reaction. Based on the research, based on the statistics, statistics does not show that people come here because there's a good welfare system here or benefit system here. Not because of that people come here. People are very interested to come here because their family members are already here. They can get support from their family members, not because of money. Statistics also show that people want to come here because this is an English-speaking country and the education is better. Most people go back because they want to thrive in their own country. They want to establish. But the UK sometimes give offers. You stay here, we're giving you this opportunity. And this is why people are staying here. That you cannot now blame, why did you stay here? Because you offered me.
But
Do you
on
understand?
on the other hand, so many students, they came to the UK. It's a number of students.
Yeah, let me very quickly. Say for example, students come here and then it used to be after the degree.
Yep.
The Home Office has offered them, okay, if you finish your degree, we give you 2 years work permit and you can do work. So you offered them, and this is why they stayed here. And then after that, within that 2 years' time, they get probably tier 2 work permit. Then you offered them, isn't it? So you cannot now blame those students, oh, why did you stay here? Or statistics show the students stay behind. Well, you offered them, they wanted to go back after their education. You told them, you invited them, that you guys stay, work here for 2 years, stay, work here for 5 years. The Home Secretary has offered them and they accepted the offer. Now, they cannot be blamed for that. Their children cannot be blamed for that. Their families cannot be blamed for that. Yeah. So the fundamental thing is they should stop. The Home Office, the Home Secretary should stop acting on knee-jerk policy. They should not act on that kind of policy. What they should do is the research. Do a research. Which people tend to stay in this country? Most of them are staying in this country because they have been offered a position. They have been offered a route where they can meet their requirements and then stay in this country.
That's absolutely fine. On the other hand, you can see the number of asylum claimants who came for study and suddenly they claim the asylum. So I don't know what about the future, what about the requirements they can fulfill for the Home Office. And they're claiming, the Home Office claiming the number of asylum claim happened in last 6-7 months, significantly high. So what is your view on that?
Well, asylum policy and the asylum background of the immigration background is internationally recognized by United States, and UN Convention confirms that if somebody has fear to return to his country for a convention reason, they should be their security and safety should be protected by the United Kingdom. If people have the opportunity to come here, and then if they feel that they have reasons that their life would be endangered when they return to their home country, they are claiming asylum, and they should claim asylum, because if they think that their life is not safe. The statistics may show that the students came here big numbers and they claimed asylum. I mean, there is no immigration policy for somebody to claim asylum from their home country. They must come either by the back door or using not using a visa, with a visa. So once they come here, they can either claim asylum if they have valid reason, or they can go to another route, or they can go back. So if you bring big numbers of immigrants, say for example, student visa, the statistics for asylum claim would go up, automatically go up, because a big chunk of those students have problems back home. There is no system or immigration route to claim to come as an asylum seeker from back home.
Yeah.
There is no immigration policy for that. There is no immigration. You've got visitor, you've got student, you've got skilled worker, you've got Tier 5 worker, you have graduate route, you have so many other routes. There is no asylum route. So how can people come? People will come, of course, with valid routes, yeah. And then after that, if they think, or if they have legitimate reasons that their life is in danger, then of course.
So what will happen who came by backdoor or without valid visas?
It doesn't really matter who came by backdoor or who not claimed by backdoor. If people have desperate situation in their country, they will use any means to be in a safe country. Of course, the people who are exploiting the system, who are exploiting bringing or smuggling those immigrants by boat, or of course the borders should be controlled
Protected,
effectively, because the system should not be, of course, abused. However, genuine asylum seekers, in the process, you cannot just brand everyone that they're not asylum seekers, genuine asylum seekers. There are so many problems in their country of origin, yeah. And for convention reasons, they have legitimate reasons. There are so many of them. Even they come by backdoor or by use or with a visa, it doesn't really matter how did they come. We need to, the Home Office need to assess their claim. Say, for example, hypothetically, a student come to this country and they have a problem, they claim asylum, yeah? And the Home Office thinks this asylum is not reasonably evidenced, so they refuse the application. 5 years later or 2 years later, if you put forward another evidence saying that he really has problem more pressing than it was before, yeah, the Home Office will look into as a fresh claim, and they will grant. There's plenty of examples of that. So initially, Home Office says, "Oh, your claim doesn't have a basis. Your application is refused." Judge also refused it. But later on, they brought forward another evidence, which is compelling evidence. That based on that evidence, Home Office accepted it. Even judge accepted it. Yeah, the circumstances changed. Or probably they have the same circumstance remained, but their evidence was not available. Now it is available. Do you understand? So you cannot just simply say, "Oh, you are just economic migrant. You are not genuine asylum seekers." Every case must be decided on its own merit. However, I would say there is no immigration route for people to come here as an asylum seeker. So the Home Office does not have that policy. Then in that case, people will definitely come using any route. And then if they have legitimate reason, they will claim asylum. It's not just because those students came big numbers and they're claiming that the asylum seekers numbers gone up. Of course, if more people come, the applications in different categories will get increased, not necessarily just asylum.
Thank you. I should go to Sister Balma, but
Yeah.
one more question to you. As a experienced lawyer, immigration lawyer, and you're serving to the community for a long time, long-standing lawyer, can you share some complex cases and what difficulties you felt last 6-7 months about the asylum claims? If you could share something, maybe our viewers, they can be.
And the complex cases, like, the problem, some asylum seekers, they have genuine problem, but the problem arises when they go and get the evidence. Sometimes it's difficult for them to obtain evidence because once they are out of country, their communication level with that country is not straightforward. They have to rely on somebody else to get the evidence. If they do not put forward evidence, then of course Home Office is going to think that, oh, his case is baseless. Do you understand? Even the judge will. So that there were complex cases in my experience. There were complex cases like people had HIV, and people had other problems like religious problems, and it's very difficult for them to get support from the even family members. Sometimes the family members are against them. So complexity arises when you have a genuine case, but you cannot actually support it with the evidence because you cannot communicate, or you cannot get to the source of it. Do you understand? And there are some cases like you have genuine arrest warrants, genuine cases, but because of the restriction in the police station, they cannot get that. So you have a case where you have legitimate reasons to claim asylum in this country, but again, because you could not obtain the right evidence, the Home Office thinks it is not. So complexity will arise when you have family members. You do not have a family members or close connection with your country where you cannot obtain evidence. Then you have to rely on the objective evidence, rely on other evidences where you have to try your best to put forward present your case to your best of your ability, and your oral evidence is going to be crucial at that point.
Thank you. I want to know from you, there are so many live cases. I think as an immigration advisor, have you seen any cases very complex?
Actually, yes, I have a lot of experiences about for Turkish people.
Okay.
ACAA Ankara Agreement.
Okay.
Last year, for example, a lot of people apply for Home Office for extension visa. They waited for maybe 2 years. It's very long time. And some of them, for example, fathers or mothers die in Turkey, but they couldn't go to Turkey. Why?
Okay.
Because apply to Home Office for extension visa. If they go out to UK, this meanings is withdraw, cancel.
Okay.
We hope so for extension visa. If one people apply to Home Office extension visa, maybe they have right for visit their mother or maybe critical issues. This is human rights, in my opinion.
But in that case, case hasn't been decided yet. So if you just put forward your application for the extension,
extension.
Might they grant you extension or not? So it's on the Home Office hands. So I believe they have to decide your case first. Then you can travel anywhere. But in that sense, I don't know. So any opinion?
No, more absolutely enough. Yeah.
Okay. So what else we can discuss? I don't know. So
I think we can discuss going home. Discuss about going home. But thank you. It's quite informational and informative program. But I understand. I've been doing immigration for a very long period of time. The policies will get changed. Immigration ministers will get changed. The Secretary of States will get changed. The government will get changed. And the new rules will come. There's always optimism in the immigration. This country is full of immigrants, and that contribution is very valuable, invaluable. So of course there will be, if you have skills, if you have ability, if you have the right education, right mind, this country will definitely invite you. Of course, there is controversies will continue in terms of asylum, in terms of other routes, but if you have the skills are being actually welcomed to this country. So I believe as an immigrant and an immigration lawyer, I think we need to encourage people to get the skills what the UK is after. And of course the Western countries, they do value skillful people. So the skilled visa is the target. Should be our top priority.
Okay, I'll conclude your comments.
Actually, really thank you so much. Why I'm saying, because this program, these shows, and Mr. Barrister and Mr. Yu, very chance for immigrant. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, both of you. You gave so much to the viewers. Your advice quite valuable, and I believe our viewers they got some knowledge, they got some information, especially they got your direct access. Is any concern, any issues, case by case, they can deal with, and you have their numbers. Thank you for watching us, and thank you, LB24. We'll see next week. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.